It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations, we cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
September is here, and it seems appropriate to kick things off today with excerpts of a prairie grouse primer published by Pheasants Forever this week. Here's a few highlights. We'll start off in Idaho, where Jeff Netter with Idaho Fish and Game says Southeast Idaho is always worth checking out for Columbian sharp-tailed grouse, and the department's Access Yes program, providing access to private land or through private land to public lands, promises a lot of hunter access. Netter also says the Tex Creek Wildlife Management Area east of Idaho Falls typically has consistent huntable populations of sharptails, but avoid Sand Creek Wildlife Management Area due to recent wildfires. As for sage grouse, try the Lemhi Valleys, the Oahe, Twin Falls, and Cassia counties. They should all offer some opportunity. Heading to southeast Montana, it looks like the long winter and hailstorms during breeding season are going to drive down grouse numbers there, and sage grouse numbers and habitat suffered in Nevada this summer too due to wildfires that burn up a good portion of the region they live in. Fortunately, there's better news out of southeast Wyoming, where state game biologist Martin Hicks says the season should be average to slightly above average compared to past years. Heading to South Dakota, biologist Travis Runya forecasts improved prairie grouse production and hunting success this year and suggests the central part of South Dakota as the premier location to bag a mix of sharp-tailed grouse and greater prairie chickens. Finally, Kansas is a great option this year, and the upland bird expert there believes the fall 2018 prairie chicken season should be as good as any in recent years, given above-average rainfall in the west and more habitat availability in the east. As to where to look for birds, try focusing on the northwestern and north-central parts of the Sunflower State. If you want further details about where to hunt prairie grouse this September and October, head to pheasantsforever.org. This week on the show, we've got fishing tournament news for you from both the FLW and Bassmaster Elite Bass Fishing Tournament Series and the results of the Van Wormers Resort Wahoo Gold Cup we told you about a few weeks ago in Baja, Mexico. Sticking with early bird seasons, we will talk to M.D. Johnson. He's an outdoors writer who hails from Iowa, lives in Washington State, loves to go dove hunting, and he's going to give you some tips on decoying some of those doves in so you can get them in range to shoot them. Now, you and I, we love hunting, but there are some people that don't, and some of them are in political positions of power. That's why we're talking to Evan Hussingveld today. He is the president and CEO of the Sportsman's Alliance. He's going to tell you about politicians doing bad things to your hunting rights in New Jersey and California and what you can do about it by helping the Sportsman's Alliance. Finally, if you want to become a better shooter, we've got something for you. It's a long-range shooting competition university. It's being put on by Gunworks. It's taking place this month in Cody, Wyoming, and Philip Vallejo, the lead instructor for Gunworks, he's going to tell you all about it. Take it all together, and we've got a great hour of fishing, hunting, and shooting coming your way. But before we get any further, let's talk a little bit about some tournament bass fishing. Next on America Outdoors Radio, it's time to check in with the Fishing League Worldwide Bass Fishing Tournament Circuit. Well, it's here to tell you what's been going on lately, and there's been a lot going on, is Joe Opager with FLW Fishing. Joe, welcome to the show.
Good morning, John. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. I hope life is treating you well in Minneapolis, Minnesota today. Let's start off with the Super Bowl of bass fishing for the FLW circuit. The Forest Wood Cup took place in August. Where did it take place, and what were the results?
Absolutely. Well, we just wrapped up the season with the Forest Wood Cup event. This year we held it on Lake Ouachita in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We had 56 of the best bass anglers from across the world out competing for $300,000. It was a pretty tough event. The fishing was kind of tough, but it's tough everywhere in August. But Clint Davis from Montevallo, Alabama, former FLW college fishing angler actually, weighed in the heaviest limit of the tournament on the final day, 17 pounds, 13 ounces. He came back. He started the day in 10th place, jumped into the top of the leaderboard, and held on throughout the entire weigh-in. No one could catch him. Ended up winning by a 7-pound margin and took home the $300,000 top cash prize.
Wow. Not only is that a great comeback story, but a 7-pound margin, that's what you call domination in terms of a bass fishing tournament.
Absolutely. I mean, fans that were following along with all the action at FLWFishing.com on FLW Live got to see Clint catch a big one in the morning. I think it was a 7-pounder. And obviously that fish turned out to be the difference maker, but you could tell right when he caught it, Clint knew that, oh, wow, this day is turning out pretty special for me. And, it was just a lot of fun for the entire bass fishing world to follow along throughout the day and then to see if he was able to hang on at the end, and he was.
Wow. All right. Well, that is fantastic. But just as interesting to me is the 2019 Costa FLW Series schedule that's just come out. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about this whole tournament circuit, how it works, and where some of these tournaments are going to be taking place?
Sure. Well, we just announced our 2019 schedule last week, actually. But how that works is the Costa FLW Series is basically the AAA level. The FLW Tour is the top level. Those are the ones that air on NBC Sports Network and feature the top pros from around the world. But the FLW Series is that rank just right below it, the AAA Series. Lots of great regional anglers and lots of, pros that fish the tour fish these events as well. We've got 5 divisions around the country. There's 3 tournaments in each of the 5 divisions, and everybody's trying to finish as best as they can to qualify for that FLW Series championship. We're almost done with our 2018 season at this point. We've got our championship coming up in October at Lake Guntersville in Guntersville, Alabama this year. But yeah, like you said, we announced our schedule for 2019 next year. We're extremely excited. We're going to some great fisheries, some places we haven't been to in a while. One of the events that I'm most excited about to see next year is our return to Lake Mead down in Las Vegas. We haven't been there since 2007, so it's been over 10 years since we've been there, but a great full schedule of lakes, and there's definitely tournaments near you, no matter where you are in the country.
The ones that win the regionals, obviously they're going to compete in a championship. What does that paycheck look like, and does that vault you to the next level if you win that or if you place high in the Costa Series?
It can absolutely give you the opportunity to. You don't have to advance to that next level if you want, but the top 10 anglers in each of the divisions, each of the 5 divisions, after those 3 events get priority entry into the FLW Tour if they choose to accept it. So they don't have to move up, but they absolutely can. But in addition to the priority entry to the tour, like you said, there's huge cash prizes for these Costa events. The first place winner at most of them takes home at least $45,000 and a brand new Ranger boat. It's a $90,000 prize package that they win, and it's on a fairly low cost entry fee to compete against some of the best regional anglers in the world. It's a really great experience.
Last question for you, Joe. Some of our listeners probably fish the local bass clubs, or they're just interested in getting involved.
Sure.
And the FLW circuit looks really interesting. How can interested bass anglers get involved with FLW fishing?
Well, the easiest way is to just check out our website, FLWFishing.com. From there, we've got a tournament finder where you can put in your address, and it will tell you what events we have upcoming in your area. We've got multiple different circuits for each level of anglers. I mentioned the FLW Tour and the FLW Series, which are, multi-day events, but, we run our BFL Series has more than 128 tournaments around the country as well, and those are just one-day events for the working man. So, we've got tournaments around the country for all different skill levels, whether you're a co-angler or a boater, male, female, old, young, it doesn't matter. Come on out and fish with FLW. FLW.
Lots of opportunity there, folks. The website again to check out, flwfishing.com. Whether you're an armchair bass angler who just likes to follow the circuit, or whether you want to get involved and try your hand against some really good bass anglers out there, flwfishing.com is the website to go to. And as you heard, there is a lot going on with Fishing League Worldwide. Joe, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for sharing this today on America Outdoors Radio.
You bet. Thank you, John.
Trolling for big salmon? Then tie on a spoon or spinner from McCombie's Custom Lures. These high-quality, made-in-the-USA lures help you catch more Chinook and coho. Whether you troll an Elite Series spoon, a Champion Glow spoon with a squid skirt, or a 3.5 Mini Colorado spinner, you'll be increasing your chances for a fish on. Look for McCombie's Custom Lures at Sportsman's Warehouse and other quality sporting goods stores on the West Coast and Alaska, or online at McCombie'sCustomLures.com.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products were designed for you. We make products for the relentless fishermen who know that big fish are caught by those who put in the work. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod racks, and breakaway river anchors, you'll spend more time chasing the fish, not your gear. Designed and built right here in the USA, Fish Fighter products won't let you down. Gear up at fishfighterproducts.com.
I'd like to welcome a new sponsor to our show. It's Sportsman's Cove Lodge, and many anglers who have been there will tell you it really is Alaska's best lodge. Sportsman's Cove Lodge sits on a salmon highway full of kings and silvers. There's halibut too, and there are some really big ones. Finally, with decades of experience taking care of customers, Sportsman's Cove Lodge knows how to treat you right from start to finish. Ready to book your trip of a lifetime? Then call Sportsman's Cove Lodge at 800-962-7889. That's 800-962-7889. 800-962-7889 for Sportsman's Cove Lodge. You're back in with America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. Our next stop is Cody, Wyoming. That's the home of Gunworks, and they are offering a long-range competition shooting university. With us here to tell you more about it is Philip Vallejo. He's a 10-year Marine Corps veteran who served as a scout sniper in 4 overseas deployments and who was the primary marksmanship instructor at the 1st Marine Division Scout Sniper School. He's now the lead instructor for Gunworks. Philip, welcome to the show.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me.
So, Philip, let's define long-range shooting. How do you define it?
So I define long-range shooting as anything out to distance that atmospherics start to play with your actual bullet, right? So temperature, humidity, station pressure. So once those 3 kind of factors you need to start taking into account, that's what I would consider long range.
So is there a magic yard mark or meter mark where that starts taking effect? Like, are we talking 500, 800 meters?
And honestly, it's caliber dependent. So, for like a 22, long range would be about 300 because at that point you'd have to, dope the wind, dope the, again, station pressure, dope humidity, dope temperature, but for 300 yards or like a, 3.3 at Lapua, that's a 0 range. You know what I mean? So I would say caliber dependent, but, all across the board, I'd say anything past about 500 yards up to about 1,000 and then, 1,000 yards plus, we would consider extreme long range. Generally, right now, for long-range shooters, about 500 plus to about 1,000 is what we consider long range.
Okay, so you're going to be offering a long-range shooting competition university in September in Cody. And let's start off, again, before we talk about the university itself, let's talk about what a competition looks like for folks like this.
So right now, the competition scene has been kind of blowing up long-range competition, and what it is, it's kind of spiraled from hunters just trying to get better at their trade. So right now, the typical competitive hunting course of fire or just a competitive course of fire is usually, a 90 to a 2-minute part time. You've got 10 rounds and maybe a variety of 3 to 5 targets, and you're subject to anywhere from 1 to 3 positions. and then you have to finish that course of fire within the prescribed time, and then obviously you get ones for hits and zeros for misses, and that's pretty much what a course of fire typically looks like.
Okay, so your Long Range University is designed to help people become successful at this. The date, September 18th through the 21st in Cody, is that correct?
That's correct.
So now why don't you walk me through the university itself? I understand it's a 3-part course. Are you doing all 3 parts from the 18th through the 21st, or is it just one part that you choose?
No, so we're doing all 3 parts, and technically if you stay for Saturday, it's the 4 parts, but level 1 is going to be Tuesday. It's the foundation. So very similar to our hunting course. You come in and you learn about the long-range weapon system, and then I give you an introduction of the basic fundamentals of marksmanship. I lay the groundwork for your foundation for you to build off of. So that, going over body positioning, go over the 3 elements of a good shooting position, going over breathing techniques, side alignment, side picture, everything that a new shooter could kind of be able to, take this information and be like, okay, this is the correct way to do it, and then build off from there. And then going into Wednesday, Thursday, which is our level 2, that's a development. Now I kind of give you a little bit more of the why and how department, how it all works, a little bit of internal, external ballistics, and then that's where we kind of branch off from our hunting course curriculum to our competitive. Now in my competitive, I'm going to be talking about competitive mindset. I'm going to be talking about the origin of competition shooting, and then kind of a taste of what shooters can expect to get into competitive shooting. So shooting off different types of props and obstacles, and then shooting off of under different part times and different time constraints. And then the last level 3 is down at Monster Lake, and then it's all pretty much a competition course style event where I brief a scenario as you would at a competition, and I have you shoot it. We sit back and I debrief. Hey, this is what I would have done differently, or this is where you failed to prepare here, or whatever the case is, and we'll have them reshoot it. So kind of at that point, the scoreboard's not on them yet. Just kind of like, okay, this is how a competition is ran. Obviously at a training level.
All right. Well, Philip, this sounds absolutely fantastic. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about your facility in Cody where this is taking place, and this other location where the level 3 university is taking place?
Okay. Level 1 and level 2 is out down at the Burlington range where we have most of our classes. So it's pretty much what I consider a square bay range, meaning we're shooting the same direction of fire. And we have steel targets already set up, fixed targets at 400, 600, 800, and 1,000 yards. That's our main berms. And then we've got just various targets spread throughout. And, what's really nice about our facility is we have a classroom type environment. The students will come in, and we'll give a classroom. And then as soon as you get out of the classroom, it's nice and AC'd. You go outside to our firing line, which, we'll have 6 shooting bays. And, from there, we'll go ahead and begin the course of fire for the day. And that's, again, level 1 and level 2. And what's nice is at 12 o'clock, we serve lunch. So the tuition covers lunch, and the tuition also covers a shop tour at the end of day 1 at our Gunworks manufacturing shop in Cody, Wyoming.
Again, folks, you're listening to America Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Philip Vallejo. He's the lead shooting instructor for Gunworks, and they are offering a 3-part long-range shooting competition university, September 18th through the 21st. We've talked about the facility. We've talked about what's included. Let's talk about what the tuition is.
So the tuition for all 4 days are level 1, level 2, and level 3. If you take all 3, it's $2,000. If you want to break it up separately, level 1 course foundation is $500. The level 2 competition course is $1,000, and the level 3 is the application, which is $500.
So it sounds like dinner, breakfast are not included. It sounds like accommodations are not included. I know you're close to Yellowstone, and I know it can be tough to get accommodations. Can you help your students with that?
Yes. We've got special prices and discounts at several of the Cody inns and hotels. You just call and let them know that you're with a Gunworks event. They'll go ahead and let you know that they honor it. Or they don't. But the majority of the time, our students know that, if they call ahead and let them know that they're at the Gunworks event, they'll get a discount for their stay.
Last but not least, I know that room is limited, and I know some of you out there are thinking to yourselves, I can't afford $2,500 in accommodation, but gentlemen and ladies, this course is a lifetime investment. You are going to be such a better shooter for having attended that I would submit to you that it's a small investment to make. How do people sign up, Philip?
So one way to sign up is by going online at our website, www.gunworks.com. Go to our training tab, and then once you go to training, our long-range university classes will pop up, and then from there you can individually select which classes you'd like to attend. And then you can also email sales@gunworks.com, and then you will get paired up with one of our sales team individuals, and they'll go ahead and book those courses and those dates for you.
The website again, folks, is gunworks.com. That's gun, common spelling, works, spelled W-E-R-K-S. That's Gunworks, works spelled W-E-R-K-S. They're offering a long-range shooting university for competition shooters in Cody, Wyoming, September 18th through the 21st. As you just heard, you're going to get some fantastic instruction. You're going to come away a whole new shooter with some whole new skills you've never had before. Check out the Gunworks website, and if you want to be a better shooter, sign up now. Philip, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers seeks to ensure North America's outdoor heritage of hunting and fishing through education and work on behalf of wild public lands and waters. Lend your voice to the fight by visiting www.backcountryhunters.org and join the 25,000 men and women who have pledged to defend wildlife and public access. You can also demonstrate your support by signing up for the 2019 North American Rendezvous in Boise, Idaho, May 1st to the 5th.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. If you ever wondered how some of our politicians stand when it comes to hunting or anti-hunting, well, we've got some unfortunate answers for you. There are some politicians out there, some of them in pretty high offices, that just plain don't like hunting and our hunting heritage. That's why it's good we've got groups like the Sportsmen's Alliance that are working on our behalf. And with us here today to tell us what's going on around our United States and about the Sportsmen's Alliance as well is the president and CEO, Evan Husingveld. Evan, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having us on. Thank you.
So, Evan, I thought we'd start off in the state of New Jersey, where the governor apparently doesn't like hunting at all. He's imposed, by executive order, a ban on bear hunting on all public lands in New Jersey. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You know, this is one of those things that is the intersection of nasty politics and wildlife management, the stuff we try to avoid. But basically, you've got Governor Murphy over there who is fulfilling a campaign promise that he made to animal rights and anti-hunting organizations that he would come back when he got into power and ban the bear hunt. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, depending on your point of view, and for us, it's certainly fortunate, he doesn't have the full authority to ban bear hunting outright as governor. Obviously, there are steps in place and processes in place that these seasons and bag limits are enacted through. He can't just come in and wipe that out. So what he did by executive order, as you mentioned, was he said, I know I can't come in and just stop the season outright, but what I'm going to do is say, that's fine, you just can't hunt them on state land. So the hunt will continue on private land. The hunt will continue in other parcels of land. But right now, for state-controlled public lands in New Jersey, there won't be bear hunting this fall. Now, I don't know what the long-term upshot of that is. We're going through it right now with our attorneys, trying to understand what our legal options are, what the recourse is for organizations like ours and others who might be interested in overturning such an executive order. But for now, that's what the governor's done.
And to me, it's very ironic because it's my understanding that New Jersey has one of the highest populations in terms of density of black bears of any state in the U.S.
Yeah, it's actually worse than that. They've got the densest population of black bears in the U.S., but they've also got the densest population of people. You've got, nearly 9 million people living in that tiny state, and you've got more than 3,500 bears roaming around there as well. Now, if you look, the New Jersey Wildlife Agency's got a map they've been putting out over the last 15 to 20 years as they do their black bear management plans and they do their hunting season evaluations, and it shows where the distribution of bears started in the mid '90s and where it is today. And you look at the map, and 20 years ago there was just a small corner of the state that had black bears, and now it's darn near every single county in the state. The state's covered up, and you're putting bears in close proximity to people. You're putting bears in close proximity to kids. You're going to have public safety risks. You're going to have incidents, and it's just not good public policy.
No, it's horrible public policy, and it's completely unsound when it comes to wildlife management, and hunting, as we both know, is a huge part of wildlife management. So you're right. The public is going to lose on this. Let's move from the East Coast to the West Coast, where the California Assembly, which is always coming up, it seems, with something either anti-gun or anti-hunting, is added again. This time they've got something called a Big Five ban bill that's working its way through their governing body. Tell our listeners about this.
Yeah, so this is another crazy one. You've got, not that there's any shortage of them coming out of California these days, but yeah, you've got California poised to become the second or third state to ban the importation of trophies from what they call the Big Five species. You're talking about lions and elephants and leopards and those types of animals. Ultimately, what these things come down to are politicians trying to dictate policy to range nations, right? And so we think that we can somehow tell folks that live half a world away how best to manage their wildlife. And it doesn't make sense at a policy level. It doesn't make sense on a practical level. These bills will do nothing, and these bills do nothing to help the species that they're purporting to help. They're not putting dollars on the ground to help with anti-poaching efforts. They're not putting dollars on the ground to make sure that wildlife management plans are being enacted and put into place that will ensure the viability of these species well into the future. Instead, it's actually taking away the number one revenue source for African nations when it comes to protecting those species. And those revenue sources come from American hunters. At the point at which you sever that tie, the funding is going to dry up, and you're going to see declines in wildlife populations. You've seen it all across Africa in the countries that have banned hunting, and you look at the places in this world where wildlife has thrived over the last 50 and 100 years. You've got countries in South Africa, you've got the United States, and it's based on a wildlife management system that has an economic incentive in there that's built on the back of hunters and anglers and trappers. We're the ones that are paying for those licenses. We're the ones that are buying the equipment in this country that is taxed at a level that provides funding back to state wildlife agencies. There's a mechanism there that works. There's a management system there that works. But for whatever reason, politicians in these states like California have come up with the idea that they know better than everybody else, and they're morally going to dictate what is okay and what's not okay. And it's going to come at the detriment of the actual species.
Not to mention the detriment of any hunters who want to go on safari and happen to live in California. And people wonder why people are leaving California in droves. Here's another example, folks. Again, you're listening to America Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Evan Husingveld. He is the president and CEO of the Sportsman's Alliance. So we've just talked about a couple of really bad political decisions that are being made regarding wildlife. Let's talk about the Sportsman's Alliance and what your organization does to fight things like this and protect our hunting heritage.
Yeah, so we were founded for that very purpose. Our only mission in life is to protect hunters, anglers, and trappers and the scientific wildlife management programs and policies that have restored wildlife all across this country. That's why we exist. That's what we do. So we work on state legislative issues. We work on anti-hunting ballot initiatives. We're engaged in lawsuits that deal with these kinds of things. And those are the actions that we get involved in. We're in business to fight the animal rights and the anti-hunting organizations that are out there, and they're powerful. You look at the top 10 animal rights and anti-hunting organizations, they bring in $500 million every single year. these are organizations raising hundreds of millions of dollars just to take away opportunities for sportsmen and women. And so those are the kinds of things we get involved in. You look at some of the biggest issues facing us nationally, whether it's the delisting of grizzly bears, we're involved in that lawsuit, and whether it's down to state legislative issues like the ones we talked about earlier in New Jersey and California. Those are the types of battles we fight. That's all we do, and that's why we exist.
And let's be honest, there's not a lot of other groups that are like the Sportsmen's Alliance out there that are doing what you're doing on a national and state level, is there?
No, and we've got a lot of great partner organizations in the conservation space, whether you're talking about the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation or the National Wild Turkey Federation. There's dozens of these organizations that are doing fantastic work. But when it comes to simply working on the legislative and legal and ballot issues we're talking about here, that's where our sweet spot is. That's where our focus is. All that great habitat work, all the great conservation programs and projects, they wouldn't mean a whole lot if you weren't able to hunt anymore. If you weren't able to go afield and enjoy those days with your family and your friends. It all comes back to hunting at the very core base of this. And so that's for us. That's what our focus is. We partner with all those groups. We work with all those groups, and they all do fantastic work. And we like to think we do fantastic work in our little niche of the industry as well.
Well, you do. I'm a big fan. Let's give folks a website so they can find out more and find out about partnering with the Sportsmen's Alliance too.
Yeah, you can find us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram and all those things. But if you visit us at sportsmansalliance.org, you can get all kinds of information there about the latest battles. Like I said, the stuff we're talking about today and other issues going on across the country, how to get involved, how to reach out to your elected officials, and how to sign up and join with us to help further that fight.
The website again is sportsmansalliance.org. That's sportsmansalliance.org. Check it out. Get involved. Help the organization that is helping you and helping to protect our hunting heritage across America. Evan, thanks for taking the time to share all of this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products were designed for you. Fish Fighter products are used by the top fishing guides in the Northwest because they know having the right equipment is imperative to a successful fishing trip. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod racks, and breakaway river anchors, you'll spend more time chasing the fish, not your gear. Designed and built right here in the USA. Gear up at fishfighterproducts.com.
There's a place where the fishing is year-round, where the sun shines 300 days a year. The wineries and breweries are right downtown. The hiking and cycling offer spectacular views you just don't get in the big cities. Fortunately, the place is real and vibrant. It's the Dalles, Oregon, just 90 short minutes from Portland, along the gorgeous Columbia River, where the adventures are limited only by your imagination. Find out more at explorethedalles.com.
Looking to reel in the marketing opportunity of a lifetime? Then set the hook, because we've got it right here. America Outdoors Radio has sponsorships available, and we offer an affordable platform to reach thousands of listeners interested in fishing, hunting, and the outdoors. Find out more by contacting host John Cruz through his website at AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com. But hurry, if you wait too long, this big opportunity might just get away. That's AmericanOutdoorsRadio.com.
I'd like to welcome a new sponsor to our show. It's Sportsman's Cove Lodge, and many anglers who have been there will tell you it really is Alaska's best lodge. Sportsman's Cove Lodge sits on a salmon highway full of kings and silvers. There's halibut too, and there are some really big ones. Finally, with decades of experience taking care of customers, Sportsman's Cove Lodge knows how to treat you right from start to finish. Ready to book your trip of a lifetime? Then call Sportsman's Cove Lodge at 800-962-7889. That's 800-962-7889. 800-962-7889 for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
Trolling for big salmon? Then tie on a spoon or spinner from McCombie's Custom Lures. These high-quality, made-in-the-USA lures help you catch more Chinook and coho. Whether you troll an Elite Series spoon, a Champion Glow spoon with a squid skirt, or a 3.5 Mini Colorado spinner, you'll be increasing your chances for a fish on. Look for McCombie's Custom Lures at Sportsman's Warehouse and other quality sporting goods stores on the West Coast and Alaska, or online at McCombie'sCustomLures.com.
Cast and blast your way across eastern Washington's Columbia Basin this fall with guide Shelby Ross. Shelby is an expert when it comes to walleye and bass in Potholes Reservoir, Moses Lake, and Banks Lake. Shelby can also take you out on a field hunt for geese or out for a morning of duck hunting and a lunch of kebabs. Trust me, you'll love it. Can't decide whether to cast or blast? Go on a combo trip. Book now at potholesfishing.com or ducktaxi.com. That's potholesfishing or ducktaxi.com.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio, and it's time for some outdoors news brought to you every week by Fish Fighter Products. They're the innovative company based in Mountain Home, Idaho, making great accessories for your fishing boat. Accessories designed to make your time on the water more efficient and easier, so you're not fiddling with equipment, you're fishing. Find out more at fishfighterproducts.com. And if you're tuning in today on AM 1640 The Patriot out of Portland, Oregon, check out Fish Fighter Products at Stevens Marine. We'll start off with results from Van Wormer Resort's second annual Wahoo Gold Cup on the East Cape of Baja, Mexico. We talked to Eddie Dalmau at Van Wormer's Resorts a few weeks ago about this, and now that the tournament is over, congratulations are in order to Victor Lachlan, who won with a 41.1-pound Wahoo. Victor took home a 2018 Volkswagen SUV plus jackpot money of over $40,000. Not a bad day for Victor and the crew of the cruiser Oso Negro. 56 teams participated in this year's tournament with over 200 anglers. More than 30 Wahoo were landed during the one-day shootout event. And it's going to happen next year, too. If you want to find out more, just Google Van Wormer Resorts and the Wahoo Gold Cup. Make plans to attend in 2019. We've got news from the Bassmaster Elite Tournament Trail 2. After what he claimed was a tough day, Josh Bertrand of Santan Valley, Arizona, mastered the New York smallmouth bass and produced a giant 5-bass limit that weighed 23 pounds, 1 ounce to take home his first Bassmaster Elite Series championship last week. Bertrand's 4-day total was 95 pounds, 3 ounces, which earned him an impressive $100,000 payday in the Bassmaster Elite at New York's St. Lawrence River. Next on America Outdoors Radio, dove hunting season is kicking off this weekend in much of the United States, and a lot of folks are in the field, whether they're wheat fields, whether they're sunflower fields, or otherwise. They're all looking to attract and shoot some doves, and some people will tell you that dove decoys are an effective way to do that, to get more birds into the area that you're hunting. Others poo-poo the idea. With us here, with his own opinion, is outdoors writer and dove hunter M.D. Johnson, who just wrote an article about decoying doves for Northwest Sportsman magazine. M.D., great to have you back on the show.
Well, good morning, John. Always good to talk to you, sir.
So, MD, what say you about those folks who poo-poo the idea of dove decoys?
Well, here's what I say about that, John. Duck hunters have decoys, goose hunters have decoys, turkey hunters have decoys, deer and elk hunters have decoys. Everybody got decoys. Everybody has decoys, uses decoys. Why not dove hunters? So it's kind of a let's join in the game kind of thing. And I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but dove decoys work. Doves are very, very gregarious. They like their own kind. And dove decoys, if they're placed where doves can see them, key phrase, if they're placed where doves can see them, dove decoys work.
And it's really funny you say that, because I have had success and a lack of success with dove decoys. And thinking back on it, that lack of success, looking back to where I'm hunting, usually is a visibility issue. I might place some dove decoys in like a locust tree or a Russian olive that I might be hunting by, hoping to attract some doves that are going to roost with those decoys. But then I realize, it's kind of hard to see those decoys, and it probably is hard to see for the dove too.
And you're right, John, and that's, but I see that with waterfowl decoys too. Maybe not so much goose decoys in an open field, but duck decoys. If the birds can't see the decoys aren't going to work, or they're going to be a lot less effective than they're meant to be. Gray dove decoys or brownish gray dove decoys against a brownish gray background aren't all that visible. The key is to get them up off the ground, get them where the doves can see them, or with today's technology in states where you can use them by law, spinning wing dove decoys work extraordinarily well. They really do. And it kind of cuts that visibility, that lack of visibility factor out.
So let's talk about how to place dove decoys for success. Now, not too many of us are going to climb up a telephone pole and shimmy out on a telephone wire to place them up there. So what do we do?
PUD would probably have a problem with that, and from a safety standpoint, John, that's probably not a real good idea. A couple different things. Things that we've done in the past, I have taken half-inch conduit, put it in the ground. I've tied or zip-tied. Zip ties are wonderful things. I've zip-tied a couple cross members at the top. It can be a two-piece, 10-foot, 2 5-foot sections of half-inch conduit. Basically what you're doing is making a skeletal phone pole and then clip very lightweight dove decoys to that. Get them off the ground. Some boys I knew in Ohio created what they called the dove wire, 2 10-foot pieces of conduit with literally a piece of cable between the two of them, and they would stretch that out reminiscent of a telephone wire, and then they would clip a half dozen or 8 or 10 very lightweight, again, dove decoys to that wire. Get them up off of the ground, put them where the doves can see them. You can use dead trees. You can use barbed wire fences. Anything to get those decoys up off of the ground and make them visible. Visibility, I know it's a no-brainer, John, but visibility is the key. The birds have to see them in order for them to work.
And you brought up something else early in this conversation, not just the visibility of the silhouettes of the decoys, but of the decoys themselves. I've got dove decoys, and they're pretty drab, they're pretty gray. They don't really stand out. Looking at your article right now in Northwest Sportsman magazine, the dove decoys you have, they pop. I mean, they're not like bright, cartoonish colors, but they certainly are brighter than you usually see on a dove, but I'm guessing it's all for visibility.
I don't know with doves, John, if realism, now you're not going to put a propeller beanie out there, but, I don't know how much realism actually plays into it. However, it can never hurt. A young man by the name of Neil Hunt out of Idaho with a company called Soar No More. Young man is a tremendous innovator, has a great product. There's a lot of good dove decoys out on the market today, but Neil and Soar No More really have some good things. They're very realistic. They're oversized, which helps with the visibility factor. Something that I do, John, there's companies that have pigeon decoys. Never hurts to throw half a dozen pigeon decoys out there, somewhat widely scattered. They're very, very visible. The white on them makes them very, very visible. Tie in 2 or 3 or 4 dove decoys. We're not talking 50 or 60 decoys, but tie in half a dozen dove decoys with 3 or 4 or 6 pigeon decoys, and you've got something that really grabs the eye.
Well, I'll tell you what, these are some great suggestions. And folks, if you use these, I have a feeling your September dove hunts are going to be a lot more successful. Bottom line is this, get those dove decoys out, get them off the ground, make sure they're visible, and consider getting some bright colored decoys or maybe throwing some pigeon decoys in there with them. And I'm pretty sure a lot more dove will be flying your way. MD, thanks for sharing this with us today. Always a pleasure to talk to you on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John. Best of luck to you and everybody else in the field this fall.
I always love talking to MD. We've got to go, but before we do, I want to congratulate Billy Earls from Longview, Washington. He was the winner of a 5-pack of salmon spinners we gave away last week on the show from McCombie's Custom Lures. We had a bunch of folks enter from all over the country. And guess what? We're going to be doing another giveaway either next week or the week after for another pack of salmon spinners. And we've got another lure giveaway on tap too. Just another reason to listen to America Outdoors Radio. I think a lot of us realize we need to get more folks involved in fishing and hunting. And if you're a Saturday listener in California or Oregon, here's a reminder that today is a free fishing day in both states. And you can also fish crab or clam for free in Oregon on Sunday, September 2nd, too. No license required. As for getting kids into hunting, if you're in North Central Washington, I hope you'll join me September 29th at the North Central Washington Gun Club in East Wenatchee for a free hunting and fishing day being put on by the Wenatchee Sportsmen's Association from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The kids are going to get lots of goodies. They're going to have a great time, and they'll get a chance to shoot rifles, shotguns, and arrows in a safe environment. Last but not least, if you're looking for other ways to listen to our show, you can do so online. And one place to do it is at talkamericaradio.us, where we air every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. Eastern Time. You can also listen to our show as a podcast on demand. 3 different platforms. Number 1, Stitcher. Number 2, Podbean. Just look for America Outdoors Radio, or go to our YouTube channel, Northwestern Outdoors, that's one word, and subscribe to hear both this show and our sister show, Northwestern Outdoors. We are out of time, but I hope the good Lord blesses you in the days ahead. And it is Labor Day weekend, and I hope you're out there taking advantage of it. Whether you're on the water fishing like I am, heading out to the field or woods for dove or grouse, or getting in one last camping trip this summer. Remember, it is your country and your outdoors. So get out there and enjoy it.